In this video, you have the opportunity to watch the actual writing process of an essay in Cambridge C1 Advanced. We will go through the analysis of a task, plan and structure the essay together, and then you will see me write the essay in real time, and I will also give my comments as we go. If that sounds good to you, then stay tuned and keep watching. Hi and welcome to Teacher Phil, where I help people like you pass their Cambridge exams. You might have seen some of my videos where I explain in detail how you can write really good texts in C1 Advanced. However, I still get comments and feedback from my viewers and readers telling me that they struggle with the practical application of these principles. So I thought it would be a good idea to show you these principles in action, including task analysis, planning, and actually writing an essay in Cambridge C1 Advanced. If you haven't watched my video on essay writing, then I highly recommend doing so first before you come back here and jump into the writing process with me. But without further ado, let's get into it.
So hello and welcome to my office. Here we are to write an essay together in Cambridge C1 Advanced. You can see that I've already set up everything, my writing program here, as well as the task that you can see on the left, also a little stopwatch, because I am going to take the time. As you know, in C1 Advanced you have 1 hour and a half to write 2 texts in the exam, which means around 45 minutes per text. So of course I'm trying to stay within that time limit of 45 minutes because I'm explaining things and because I haven't looked at this task before. So this is a task that I chose quite randomly, and I've never worked on this task before. So I hope that I will be able to do this in 45 minutes, including all my explanations. And I hope that you will be able to follow my thoughts and my writing process. So I am going to move myself down into the corner. Here we are, so you can see a little bit better. And so without further ado, let's get started. Here we go. So the first thing that we should always do when we write an essay like this is to make a plan. So first of all, I write down a plan. And in an essay like this, what I typically like to do, as you might know from my video on essay writing, is to use an introduction, a first topic paragraph, a second topic paragraph, as well as a conclusion. So you can see here, my language is still set to German. Let me change that to English as well, so we won't get all the corrections. So here we have the idea for our plan, and let's have a look at this task here. So the task talks about good influence of adults on young people. So that's the topic. The second question that I always ask myself is what exactly I should include. So we have here these 3 possible ideas that are connected to this topic, and we have to discuss 2 of them, and we should explain which of these 2 we think is more effective. So I think I'll just go with the first 2, giving rules and setting an example. So as an introduction, what I always want to do is to, of course, introduce the topic and introduce the topic points that I want to discuss. So I would say something like that. There has been a lot of discussion in the media, or maybe we should say, on negative effects of something like that, I guess. And maybe also to include video games, all of these things. Yeah, there has been a lot of talk about this. Of course, on children and teenagers, yeah, so I don't want to use the same word. I don't want to say young people, so I try to rephrase this. And we can say that they need some kind of guidance, that they need certain boundaries. Yeah, that's what I mean with rules and role models. That would be guidance. Yeah, so I rephrase with boundaries and role models. I rephrase the 2 points that I want to discuss here. And this is already the plan for my introduction. Then for my first topic paragraph, giving rules. I guess from my personal perspective, I think it is very important that young people get rules, and that parents and other adults set rules for them. So I would say something like that setting boundaries, especially from the parents, maybe is important. And I think it's not only important when kids are young, but I think it's also important for their later life, like yeah, in work or relationships, yeah, that they understand that they can't just do whatever they want. But, and this is interesting because I saw this in a video on psychology, I think it is important for teenagers to break rules so they can become independent from their parents. So I think this would be a nice contrast perhaps to that first point. Yeah, I like this one. Okay, and I think that's already enough for the first topic paragraph. I think we can craft a nice paragraph out of this. The second one, setting an example. I think we can also nicely connect that to the first paragraph, because if parents set rules, they should probably live by them, and be good role models, as I said in the introduction. So I guess that in general we can say as a first thing that they look up to role models, and that's not only their parents, but that's of course athletes, singers, actors, famous people that they admire. And but their parents and maybe their teachers, adults that are closer to them, they might definitely be role models, right? They look up to role models, maybe, and try to be like them, something like that, yeah. And then how could we continue with this? As I said, I want to include that parents and teachers are probably even more important. And so with that I mean, because they are closer to these young people, they play a larger role as role models. Okay, so I think that's also enough, so I can remember what I want to say. And then, of course, in the conclusion, we can say a conclusion or a comparison. Yeah, that's also a good point not to forget this, because it says which I think is more effective, giving reasons. So it is a comparison after all. And to be honest, my personal opinion is that it's probably a combination of the 2 points. That there's not one that's better than the other. As I said, if you set boundaries, you want to be a role model, and you want to live, yeah, what you preach. But I want to mention here that, for example, parents are not their children's friends, I guess. Yeah, so I think that's something that is often overlooked. But they are more, maybe I can say, but rather a point of resistance and reference, something like this, yeah. So as you can see, this took me a little bit longer because of my explanations, but I guess in your case, you should be able to do this in under 5 minutes, to set up a plan and to get ready for writing. And so this plan can help us now craft a great essay. So I guess With all that being said, we can just get right into it. So with the intro, as we said, we always try to introduce the topic, and we try to create some kind of context. So maybe I can start something like this: over the last decade, or over the last decade plus. We can say something like the rise of social media, and as I said here, video games. Something like that, because people, it says here, a lot of discussion in my plan have sparked a discussion. Perhaps something like that. So that kind of creates context, yeah. That what has happened over the last 10 years, or a little bit more than 10 years. We've seen this with, shootings at schools. We've talked about this in their documentaries about the dangers of social media and so on. So I think there has been a lot of discussion about the negative effects on these things. And then maybe we can say something, use a nice expression. I think there's a nice advanced expression when you say something like this begs the question, instead of actually asking the question. When something begs the question, I think that's always a good idea. And then we can include here the last pieces of our intro, and introduce the topic. Yeah, so it begs the question what adults can do maybe to support to support young people, and maybe we can say and guide their, I don't want to say behavior, because that's already in the maybe you can say their demeanor, which should be something similar, and then maybe be it through strict boundaries, as we said there, or as role models. So yes, thank you for my, I used the American spelling here, which is okay, but I want to keep it British, of course. But you can use American spelling, yeah, but because I typically use British spelling, I want everything British. Okay, so our introduction is done. So you can see here, I have some good language here. Things like this begs the question. Yeah, they have sparked the discussion. So I think this is good. I don't use the exact same words as in the task. I paraphrase them. So I think that is good. Let me just try to get a little bit of space here. That's better. Okay. So from there we can get into our first topic paragraph, yeah, and we always try to start our paragraphs with a good topic sentence, yeah. So we can say here parents and teachers. We can maybe say need to set strict boundaries. What can we say here? To maybe something like this, to rein in youth. But I don't like the fact that I use boundaries here twice. Maybe we could say strict limits, or maybe we can say something like this, strict lines to rein in youth. Yeah, so I think this is a good topic sentence here, that introduces the paragraph and the reader knows exactly what's happening and what I'm going to talk about. So I like this one. From here we have to, of course, give a little bit more explanation, reasons, examples, and that's what we're going to do now. So in the plan you can already see what things I'm what things I thought about adding. Of course, you can always change your plan or add things, but maybe we can add this here once they join the workforce. Maybe something like this, to talk about work once they join the workforce. Maybe we can say no one will hold their hand, something like this. Maybe no one will hold their hand anymore, and maybe we can say mistakes or misbehavior can have maybe dire consequences, even though that sounds perhaps a little bit strong, but I think we can use this as a nice expression. I think dire here as like negative or grave consequences might be another option. So here I've included the work piece a little bit. Yeah, maybe you can say once they join the workforce or are in a relationship, yeah, no one will hold their hand anymore. And mistakes and misbehavior can have dire consequences. I like this. I like this. But then, and I think this is an important point here, that it's important for teenagers to break the rules. So I guess I want to include this. And so of course I can use an expression like on the other hand or however to connect this idea to the rest of the paragraph, yeah, which is super important. The examiners want to see that you are able to connect your ideas within paragraphs, but also across paragraphs. And I will try to do this with my second topic paragraph and later with the conclusion to connect them to the rest of the text. We will see how that goes. But to introduce this contrast between my two ideas, so the first one here, that boundaries need to be set, but also that it's important for teenagers to break rules. I think there's a great contrast within the paragraph. So we can, what can we say here? Maybe we can say it is essential. Maybe we can say it is essential for young people to, maybe we can say, to test the water or the waters and maybe try to become, yes, we say it's independent. It is essential for young people to test the waters, try to become more independent. Yeah, maybe we can say from their parents. So I think that's usually the point of resistance, at least that's what it was for me when I was a teenager. I always argued with my parents because I wanted to be independent. I wanted to become my own man. So I think this is good. It is essential for young people to test the waters. And I guess to round off this paragraph and to round off this sentence, maybe we can say something like this. Yeah, I think this looks good. It is essential for young people to test the waters and try to become more independent from their parents, to be beneficial for their personal development. I think that is good. Yeah, I think we have this beautiful contrast here in the paragraph. I really like this. I think that is a good topic paragraph. Yeah, we have a topic sentence at the beginning. Then when I say after all, it's a nice cohesive device. Yeah, it refers back to the sentence and it connects the sentence to this. And we explain a little bit more why this is important. And then we even add a contrast in this paragraph and connect it again to the previous sentences. So I think this is a beautifully cohesive and coherent paragraph, thanks to the linking expressions that we use and of course the content that we choose here. So I think topic paragraph 1, done. Okay, so from here we can move on to the second topic paragraph. Let me look at my plan again. So it's about, yeah, role model, setting an example. Yes, and I think that, yeah, again, we can also connect this to the idea of setting boundaries, that the parents, especially the parents, can set boundaries, but they should also live by it. And yeah, so I think, and this is also a good expression, pro tip here, if you say something like this, having said that, which introduces again a contrast, yeah, but it's not the same expression. So if I say having said that, that tells us that I want to refer back to this whole paragraph or even to the last sentence, but the reader knows I'm going to talk about what I said earlier. Let me also have a look at the time. 18 minutes, we're good. Our timing is going well here, despite all my explanations. So let's see if I can do this in under 45 minutes. Okay, so let's think about this. Young people look up to role models and try to be like them, yeah. Yeah, maybe I can refer that more to the parents. Maybe I can say especially parents. How can I say this? Maybe you can set a good example. So they can set a good example. And then we can say and model maybe something like desired behavior. Again, British spelling here, yeah. If you want to use American spelling, that's perfectly fine. I choose the British version. They can set a good example and model to desired behavior. Maybe I can say because their children do look up to them and needs their guidance, maybe something like this. Especially parents can set and model desired behavior because maybe not need their guidance, but want their guidance. They look up to them and want their guidance. Yeah, I think that is a good topic sentence. Again, it tells the reader what to expect from the paragraph, and now I just have to flesh it out a little bit more again, and explain it in a little bit more detail. So we can say they want their guidance, and maybe we can say, for instance, maybe we can include these athletes and famous people as well. Followed by millions of mostly... No, I don't want to say young people again. I think I used this already somewhere. Maybe we can change this. Artists have millions of... Maybe we can say mostly young followers. Maybe that works better. So I don't say young people again, but young followers is a different noun here, and I think it's a good noun in the context of social media. Famous people like artists. Mostly young followers who try to copy and be like them. I guess that's a good sentence here. For instance, I have millions for young followers. Okay, and so now as a consequence we can so I want to use this as an example that it is possible to guide young people's behavior. Especially parents can set a good example as people. So it is indeed possible for adults to have I already used influence? No, to influence the actions of children and teenagers. Parents can set a good example and model desired behavior. Yeah, for instance, so it is indeed possible for adults. Maybe we can say, and parents can take advantage of that. Maybe I can even make it a bit stronger. They should take advantage of that. I like this paragraph as well. So again, with using the expression having said that, we refer back to the previous paragraph and we show in the first sentence what the paragraph is going to talk about. Then with this linking expression, I signal that I want to explain a little bit more what I mean and that I want to add an example. So I talk here about these famous people, athletes, artists, and that they are proof for the possibility of setting an example, of being role models, because young people, they try to be like them. I was talking to a student of mine the other day who told me that he can see when his son was younger playing football that they would try to copy famous football players when they scored a goal, and they wanted to mimic their celebrations. And these are just small things, but if as a parent you show good behavior and you set an example, and children will look up to the parents and they will follow their example and try to be like them. So I think this paragraph shows that. Okay, so we've got, and let me just scroll down a little bit. So we've done our topic paragraphs, we have a good introduction at the beginning. So now of course we need to conclude, where, again, when we read the task carefully, as you should always do, you need to explain which way you think is more effective. As I already said in my plan, I don't think one of them is more effective. I think a combination of the two would actually be better. So I think, again, I guess I can start like this. Maybe like this. Yeah, again, using a nice expression to introduce and also to refer back to everything, considering all of the above. Yeah, that means I'm considering everything I've already said in my essay, considering all of the above, and now we can give our opinion and we can use expressions to do this. And that can be something simple like this, yeah. And as I said in my plan, not a culmination, but a combination of these two ideas. Maybe we can say would have the strongest impact, to use another different expression, on, what can I say, young people's behavior. Considering all of the above. Maybe not on influencing, maybe the strongest impact on young people's behavior. Yeah. And then I like this here. I want to include this somehow. How can I do this? Maybe I can say, yeah, and then I can pretty much use this expression. Yeah, adults are not necessarily their friends, but rather point of reference. And then I want to finish this somehow. How can I do this? Let's see. Adults. Maybe we can say, and there lies an Yes, I like this one. Yeah, there lies an opportunity that shouldn't be missed. Very good. Okay, so here we are, and I think I'm quite happy with this essay. So here in my conclusion, and we'll go through the whole essay together again. So it says here, considering all of the above. So again, this links my conclusion very nicely to the previous paragraphs. And I say here that I don't think that one is better than the other, but that it's a combination of these two ideas. Yeah, and again, when I say these two ideas, these are these little cohesive devices that examiners look for. When I say these two ideas, yeah, that that also refers back to the previous paragraphs. Yeah, it's not always these fixed linking expressions that we use. They are one part of a good cohesion in your writing. But little things like this, when I say these two ideas, the reader sees the link that I make here to the previous paragraphs, and I think this is good. I also refer back here with what I say here to the previous paragraphs again. Yeah, I say parents, they set a good example, and that here I said that young people, they need to break the rules and rebel a little bit against their parents, and so I think this summarizes that again. And again, if I say there lies an opportunity, yeah, there means being the point of resistance and reference. So this is another example where I say there, these two ideas. Yeah, those are little words that link your ideas together. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a word like having said that, or on the other hand, or for instance. Yeah, but they are equally valuable. Yeah, not one is better than the other. But I think this ends the essay quite well. So let me see here. Took me about half an hour to do everything. Obviously, I wouldn't expect you to do this in half an hour. You can take your time, but also because essays are very formulated and always work the same, I think that you can possibly save a little bit of time on your essay because they always work the same. So let's have a look again at our essay here, and let's see if there are things that we want to change, because as you know from my video on essay writing, always read your essay again so you can make last changes and that you can maybe even improve it. But I think because I've already made my explanations to you and I've went through why I'm writing the way I'm writing, maybe we are good here. So let's have a look. So again, in my introduction at the beginning, first of all, I create some context. And I think it's always the best idea to start with that. And as you can see, it's just one sentence. You don't have to write a lot in your introduction. One sentence of setting the context, connect this to the topic. Connect this to saying what you're going to talk about in the essay. It's really simple, and I think this always works in your essays. Create context and say what you want to talk about in your essay. Obviously try to paraphrase, don't use the same expressions. Yeah, so here it talks about being a good influence, giving rules, setting an example, and I paraphrase this. Yeah. So here I use the word boundaries instead of rules. I use the word role model instead of setting an example. So I think the introduction, I like it. I like it. It's good. Yeah, that teacher Phil likes his own work. That is really nice. Okay, then Let's have a look. Actually, I guess... No, I'll let the time run because we are still in our 45-minute time window. So then, as I said, topic paragraph to start a topic sentence to start a topic paragraph, excuse me. With a good topic sentence, you signal to the reader what happens in the paragraph. And I think this sentence does it really well. I then expand on this idea using after all, and I explain what I mean here. Why is it important for parents and teachers to draw strict lines? Then I introduce this contrast that I already had in my plan, so it was all planned out and I simply followed it. That's the value of a good plan. Invest those 5 minutes at the beginning, and with that you can save yourself so much time and you can make sure that you have good ideas that are well connected, just like here. So it says here, on the other hand. And I think I also use some nice vocabulary here. I use expressions like test the water, become more independent, breaking the rules. It can be beneficial. I think here we had draw strict lines, rein in youths. So even if you don't find expressions like this in your initial writing, going through your text again, you might be able to think of some synonyms, or if you see that you've repeated yourself. So going through your text again gives you the opportunity to possibly change some expressions and to do a little bit of, you could call it wordsmithing, that you try to get your words and your sentences perfect. So I think topic paragraph 1, I have to pat myself on the back. Good piece of writing. So then, as I said, I connect the next topic paragraph to this one. And again, topic sentence. Even this here could be enough as a topic sentence because it already explains what I'm going to talk about. I give reason because the children look up to them, and they do look up to them and want their guidance. This is also a nice little language tweak that I made here. If I say they do look up to them, I emphasize the fact that they do. And again, I have an example here. For instance, so I explain that there is an example. These athletes and artists, they do influence young people. That's why we call them influencers. And I think there has even been a little bit of conversation if, for example, football players, if they set a good example by diving and trying to get penalties and all of these things, if that is good behavior, and if maybe rules should be changed to stop this. But positive or negative, they have an influence on young people, and that it says here, it is indeed possible for adults to influence their children, and that they should take advantage of that. So I think this is also a good paragraph. It's connected to the previous paragraph. It's connected within itself, and I think that's also good. And then again, a nice introductory expression to link the conclusion to everything that I've said before in the essay. And I state my opinion clearly. So I think that's what you should do. State your opinion. Say what you really think. If you decide that one is better than the other or more important, say that. And then in another sentence, give your reasons to this. It doesn't have to be a lot what you write there, but it says in the task, give reasons to support your opinion. So you cannot miss that, and you should definitely give reasons. And I say here that adults are not necessarily their friends. And that there lies this opportunity that shouldn't be missed. So I think that overall this essay works pretty well. So now let me stop the time. So we got to almost 37 minutes here of writing and crafting, and just again for you to see, here's everything. My plan plus my essay. Let's also check how many words we have. We got to 246 words. Yeah, remember the time limit is always 220 to 260. So we are right within the word limit. That is also great. It even happens to me, yeah, if I write example texts for my articles, for example, that I write a little bit more. If you get to, let's say, 265 words and you are just outside the limit, don't worry about this. Yeah, you won't get penalized or punished for that. But if you write 300 words or more than that, yeah, or even 290, there's a good chance that some of the things you write are not relevant to the task anymore, and you might actually lose a couple of marks. So try to stay within the limit. Again, I did here. And as we said, introduction, yeah, try to, and let me write this here for you at the end again. Let's make this red. Yeah, so that the important things here are context and introduce the topic. Yeah, these are the two things you want in your introduction. Yeah, in your topic paragraphs, yeah, make sure that that you look for cohesion. Yeah, so link your ideas together. Cohesion, yeah. Link your ideas together. That is an important point, yeah. Always start with a topic sentence. Yeah, start with a topic sentence and give additional information. Yeah, and make sure that it is cohesive. Just don't want to make things red here as it seems. Here we go. Okay, so those are the main points in your topic paragraphs. I will add though in the second topic paragraph that link the second paragraph to the first. Yeah, make sure that they are connected across paragraphs. So not only within a paragraph, but even across paragraphs. You want to have connections, as I did here. With having said that, sorry for repeating myself on this, but these are super important points that the examiners look for. And if you do it well, you will get higher marks. And I always think that writing is maybe the part of the exam where you can really shine and where you can score high marks to possibly balance out other parts of the exam where you might struggle, like listening or use of English or something like this. Okay, and in the conclusion, of course, we always kind of want to summarize, as it says here, considering all of the above. Yeah, summarize somehow. Give your opinion and explain. Yeah, you can do this in 2 sentences and you're done. So, with all of that being said, I hope that this was helpful for you. Again, it took me quite a bit less than 45 minutes, and I wouldn't expect you to write an essay in this short of a time, but obviously I've done this a million times, and so for me it doesn't take that long, but I hope that you got an idea of how this works. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course let me know in the comments if there are other kinds of texts that you would like me to write for you, and you can follow along. And yeah, with all that being said, let's go back to my living room and let's finish the video.
And there you have it. Following my own principles and advice, I was able to write a pretty good essay, including a lot of good things and without wasting any time. So now, after watching this video, as well as the other video that I mentioned at the beginning, you should now be able to apply all these different ideas and strategies and to improve your writing significantly. However, if you are not sure and still need some help, I can also be your teacher. I offer online classes as well as writing feedback, and you can also find a detailed article on how to write essays in C1 Advanced on my website. All the links are in the description box below, and I see you in the next video.